There comes a point in life when you get tired, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You get tired of the same cycles, the same disappointments, the same feeling of being drained by people who don't value you. Maybe it's a friend who only reaches out when they need something. Maybe it's a family member who never respects your boundaries. Or maybe it's someone you love, someone you gave everything to, who never truly saw your worth. At first, you tell yourself to be patient. You give them the benefit of the doubt. You convince yourself that if you just explain how you feel, they'll understand. But the truth is, they already know. They just don't care enough to change. And the more you try to make them see your pain, the more powerless you feel. That's when it hits you. Some people don't deserve a reaction. They don't deserve access to your energy, your thoughts, your emotions. The more you engage, the more control they have over you. So you make a choice. A quiet, powerful choice. You decide to cut them off, not with anger, not with words, but with silence. And that's the hardest part. Because silence isn't just about not speaking. It's about resisting the urge to explain yourself, to prove your worth, to show them what they lost. It's about understanding that no response is the best response. But cutting someone off silently isn't just about them, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your peace. You start noticing how much lighter you feel, how much calmer your mind is. At first, it feels strange, almost empty. You're so used to their presence, their messages, their drama. But then, you realize that the space they left behind is not emptiness, it's freedom. And yet, there's always a moment of doubt. What if they change? What if they finally realize what they did and come back, apologizing? That's when you have to remind yourself of all the times you waited for them to change, all the times you gave them chances, all the times they proved, again and again, that they were never going to be the person you needed them to be. But here's the catch: when you cut someone off silently, they will notice. They will wonder why you're not reacting anymore. At first, they may not care. But over time, as they see you moving differently, living peacefully, something shifts. The absence of your energy, your attention, it bothers them. They may try to reach out. A casual message, pretending nothing happened. Or maybe they'll try to provoke you, push your buttons, just to see if they can still control your emotions. And that's the test. That's when you have to decide, are you strong enough to ignore it? To keep walking away without looking back? Because the moment you engage, even just a little, you give them an opening. And that's what they want. Not to fix things, not to make it right, just to know they still have access to you. But this time, you don't play their game. You don't respond. You don't give them what they want. And that's when you finally win. Not because you hurt them, not because you got revenge, but because you proved to yourself that you don't need their validation anymore. And something incredible happens when you take your power back. You start attracting peace. You start focusing on yourself, on the things that truly matter. You realize that losing them wasn't a loss at all. It was a gain of self-respect, a gain of mental clarity, a gain of emotional freedom. People will always reveal who they truly are. Some will lift you up, support you, bring light into your life. Others will drain you, manipulate you, make you question your worth. Your job is to recognize the difference. And when you do, don't react. Don't beg, don't argue. Just walk away. Silently. Powerfully. But here's the real question: when the moment comes, will you be strong enough to choose yourself over them? Because if you are, everything will change. But if you're not, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. The choice is yours. At first, the silence feels unfamiliar. You're used to explaining yourself, defending your choices, trying to make people understand. But now there's nothing. No messages to answer. No exhausting conversations. No cycle of hope and disappointment. Just space. Just peace. But with peace comes something unexpected: doubt. You wonder if you made the right choice. Maybe you were too harsh. Maybe you should have given them one last chance. After all, what if they're struggling? What if they're going through something and you walking away just made it worse? That's the part that hurts the most. The guilt. You were never someone who walked away easily. You always believed in second chances, in forgiveness. But this time, something in you knew it had to be different. And then, just as you start to settle into the quiet, they come back. Not in a dramatic way. No big apology, no moment of realization. Just a small, casual message, like nothing ever happened. Hey, how have you been? A simple question, but you know what it really means. They're testing the waters, checking to see if they still have access to you. If you let them back in like before, your heart beats a little faster. A part of you wants to answer to see if maybe, just maybe, this time things will be different. But deep down, you know the truth. They haven't changed. If they had, they wouldn't have waited until your silence unsettled them. They wouldn't be reaching out just to see if they still have a hold on you. So you do nothing. You don't reply. And that silence? It speaks louder than words ever could. Because they expected a reaction. Maybe anger, maybe frustration, maybe even kindness. But not this, not being ignored. Days pass, and the messages start coming in more frequently. Hope you're okay. Miss talking to you. Did I do something wrong? And then the shift happens. The sweet words fade, replaced by frustration. So you're just gonna ignore me? I guess I never meant anything to you. That's when you know you made the right choice. Because someone who truly cared wouldn't be trying to manipulate you into a response. They wouldn't be trying to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. But the hardest part isn't ignoring them. It's what happens in your own mind. The memories start playing, the good times, the moments when they made you laugh, when you felt like maybe, just maybe, they were different. And for a second, you almost convince yourself to go back. But then you remember all the times you felt drained, unappreciated, unseen. The nights you overthought their words, the moments they made you question your own worth. And that's when you realize you don't miss them. You miss the version of them you created in your head, the one you hoped they would become. So you hold your ground. You keep moving forward, even when it's hard, even when it feels lonely. Because this silence isn't just about them, it's about you. It's about breaking a pattern that has kept you stuck for too long. It's about learning that walking away isn't weakness, it's strength. But then, just when you think it's over, something happens that changes everything. And this time, you can't ignore it. Days turn into weeks, and the silence becomes your new normal. The absence that once felt strange now feels like freedom. You sleep better. Your mind is clearer. You no longer wake up dreading a message, a call, a confrontation. It's like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders, but just as you start to feel at peace, something happens. Something you didn't expect. You see them. Maybe it's by chance, on the street, in a store, somewhere you least expected. Or maybe it's not an accident at all. Maybe they wanted to be seen, to remind you they still exist, to see if they can still get a reaction out of you. For a split second, time freezes. Your mind races. Do you acknowledge them? Do you pretend you don't see them? Every part of you is torn between the past and the person you are now. And then they make a move. A small one, just a glance, a look that lingers too long. Maybe even a half smile, as if nothing ever happened. But you feel it, that tension, the unspoken words hanging in the air. They're waiting to see if you'll break the silence. Your heart pounds. A part of you wants to go back to what was familiar, to fix things, to ask them why they treated you the way they did, why they never valued you when they had the chance. But then reality crashes down. You don't need their answers anymore. You don't need their validation. You turn away. You walk past them, not because you're cold, but because you finally understand. You don't owe them anything. Not a conversation, not an explanation, nothing. But they don't let it end there. The messages start again. But this time, there's a shift. They're not just reaching out. They're watching. They know you've changed. They see it in the way you carry yourself, the way you no longer react. And it bothers them. Maybe they try a new approach. Maybe they play the victim. I just don't understand what I did to deserve this. Or maybe they turn to anger. You're really going to act like I never meant anything to you? It's desperate now, obvious, because they're losing control. And then, just when you think they'll finally give up, something happens that makes your heart stop. Something you never saw coming. And this time, ignoring them might not be enough. You think it's over. You think they'll finally give up and let you move on. But then, something shifts. The messages stop, the attempts to get your attention fade, and for a moment, you feel relief. Maybe they'd finally accepted it. Maybe they've realized that no reaction is the only response they'll ever get from you. But then, out of nowhere, you hear about them again. Not through a message, not through a call, but through someone else. A mutual friend, an unexpected conversation, a casual mention of your name in a place you never expected it. And that's when you realize they never really let go. They just found a different way to pull you back in. At first, it's subtle. A comment here, a question there. Someone tells you they were asking about you, or they said they don't understand what happened. It sounds innocent, almost harmless. But you know better. This isn't about closure. This isn't about understanding. This is about control. They can't reach you directly anymore, so they're trying a different route. And then the real twist hits. You hear something that stops you in your tracks. A rumor, a twisted version of the truth, something that turns your silence into a story, one they've carefully crafted to make themselves look like the victim. Maybe they say you abandoned them with no explanation. Maybe they act like they have no idea why you cut them off. Or worse, maybe they start making you the villain. And now you're at a crossroads. Do you speak up? Defend yourself? Correct the lies? The urge is there, burning in your chest, tempting you to break your silence. Because staying quiet doesn't just mean walking away anymore. Now, it means letting people believe things that aren't true. But then you stop yourself, you take a breath, and you ask the hardest question of all. Does it really matter? Do their words change the truth? Do the people who truly know you need an explanation? That's when you understand something powerful. The only thing they have left is the ability to make you react. And if you give them that, you lose. So you don't. You hold your ground, even when it's hard. Even when the temptation to clear your name is almost unbearable. Because the truth doesn't need defending. But just when you think you've won, when you think you've finally taken your power back, something happens that changes everything. And this time, it's bigger than words. Bigger than rumors. This time, it's something you never saw coming. And then it happens. The moment everything has been building toward. You wake up to a message, not from them, but from someone unexpected. Someone who was never. You don't respond. You don't react. You don't even acknowledge what they've done. Instead, you take a deep breath, put down your phone, and walk away, this time for good. And that's when the final twist happens. Days later, when you least expect it, the truth comes out, not because of you, but because of them. The more they try to push their version of the story, the more it unravels. People start to see the inconsistencies, the contradictions. Slowly, the ones who believed them start to question everything. And one by one, the illusion they created starts to crumble. And just like that, the power they thought they had over you disappears. Not because you fought back, but because you didn't have to. The truth has a way of revealing itself, and in the end, it always does. So you move forward, stronger, wiser, free, and they are left with exactly what they created, nothing. In life, there comes a moment when you realize some people are not meant to stay. They drain your energy, manipulate your kindness, and take more than they give. At first, you make excuses for them. Maybe they're just going through a tough time. Maybe they don't mean to hurt you. But deep down, you know the truth. Some people will never change. And the more you react, the more power you give them over your life. There's a different way to handle this. No drama, no arguments, no explanations, just silence. Imagine walking away without a word, without looking back. No warnings, no second chances, just removing yourself from the situation. It's not revenge. It's not anger. It's self-respect. Because sometimes the most powerful move is the one that doesn't make noise. Think about it. What happens when you stop reacting? When you stop feeding their ego, their games, their need for control? They lose their grip on you. They expect a reaction, an explanation, maybe even a fight. But when you disappear quietly, without a trace, they are left confused.